Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode we're going to be talking about the Cincinnati Bengals versus Pittsburgh Steelers Week 7 matchup based on analytics. Each week, I collect all of the current 2017 NFL team data in order to analyze and project potential NFL performance. And since it's a weekly collection, there will always be some fluidity to keep track of various team trends. However, there will always be little nuggets of data that could become bigger nuggets of data as the season continues. So stick around as I analyze each week's matchups based on analytics. And if you are new to the channel, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So starting with this one particular matchup of the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So to start off with the NFL stat basic comparisons, which basically looks at how the offense is doing, how the defense is doing, in terms of various metrics and special teams as well. And the overall data favors the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of how these teams have performed over the course of this entire season. The Steelers have done, it hasn't looked pretty. I mean, I'm going to admit, it hasn't looked pretty. The offense hasn't looked pretty. Like, there's been a lot of aspects of the Steelers team that hasn't been perfect or elite. But they do a lot of things to help them win football games. And I want to get into some of the reasons why the Steelers are so heavily favored in this game. So starting off with the total O score. The total O score is basically the ability of the offense to generate first downs, whether it's passing downs, rushing downs, etc. And the Steelers are just better when it comes to that score than the Bengals. Now, the Bengals are certainly improving. And a big reason why the Bengals are so low in terms of this particular metric is because they have, they struggled to start the year heavily. The first 3 games of the season, I think the Bengals were one of the worst offenses in the NFL, and they're starting to creep a little bit back up to about average. So, in that respect, I think that's the biggest thing that I could take away is that the Bengals are slowly getting better, but the Steelers have been a little bit more consistent when it comes to that. On top of that, when you look at turnover ratio, the Steelers are not amazing when it comes to turnovers, but they are better than the Bengals. And again, a lot of that has to do with how the Bengals started the season. You look at sack percentage or sacks allowed. The Steelers are much better in terms of preventing sacks versus the Bengals. And offensive score percentage also heavily in the Steelers' favor versus the Bengals. So, on a per drive basis, the Steelers typically put up points more often than the Bengals, which is basically what that metric kind of deals with. So the overall offensive data favors the Steelers. Where there's a bit of a toss-up is when you get to defense. So first to start off, the Bengals defense. When it comes to total D score, which is basically the ability to prevent first downs on defense, the Bengals actually have that over the Steelers. On top of that, the Bengals are also better when it comes to preventing points, but it's very, very close. The defensive offensive score percentage for the not the defensive offensive score percentage, but yeah, that definitely favors the Steelers in terms of that. But I'm mostly talking about sacks. So again, a lot of people talk about sacks for the Steelers and the Bengals, but the Bengals actually are pretty even when it comes to sacks. 98.74 is the sack percentage for the Bengals, and 98.43 is the sack percentage for the Steelers. So very similar when it comes to that particular metric. Interception percentage is more so with the Steelers as well. Turnovers is more so with the Steelers. And defensive score percentage, so basically the ability of the defense to prevent scores from happening, is also more so with the Steelers. From that aspect, the overall defense of the Steelers is better than the Bengals, mainly because the Steelers generate more turnovers, and the Steelers also generate more interceptions, and they also prevent more points. But these are both strong defenses in their own right. Even if, whoever the Bengals face in the NFL, this is a fairly formidable defense. So from that kind of aspect, that's kind of what I just want to get out there, is that the Steelers definitely have the advantages here, defense to defense, but that doesn't mean the Bengals are a bad defense by any stretch of the imagination. Then, of course, you look at special teams. So punt return yardage, Bengals. Kick return yardage, Bengals. Preventing punt return yardage or defensive punt return yardage, more so with the Steelers, but very close. Then you look at defensive kick return yardage, more so with the Bengals. Field goal percentage, Bengals. Extra point percentage, Bengals. And punting average, Bengals. So special teams wise, the Bengals have that advantage across the board, whether you're talking punt return yardage, kick return yardage, field goal percentage, extra point percentage, punting average, everything to do with special teams, the Bengals have. When it comes to offense, Steelers. Defense, Steelers. And again, that is why they're heavily favored in this game. So, that's the basic points or tenets, I guess I could say, is the Steelers have the advantage because of those particular things, because they have a defense that doesn't allow a lot of points. Their offense isn't amazing, but they put up enough points to win, and ultimately that's why the Steelers are favored in this game based on data. Now, we get to some other matchups. So looking at things like completion percentage of the Bengals versus the Steelers. Now, when you look at the Bengals offense versus Steelers when it comes to completion percentage, pretty much favors the Bengals in that respect in first and second down situations, except for third down situations. The Bengals continue to have a fairly below average third down completion percentage compared to the rest of the NFL. Then, of course, you look at the Steelers versus Bengals situation in terms of completions, and this also this favors the Bengals defense in this regard, whether you're talking second down, third down, or even first down situations, although it is fairly evenly matched in terms of first down. Then you look at rushing down. So this is the Bengals rushing offense versus the Steelers rushing defense. And honestly, the Steelers have the advantage here. Whether you're talking second down situations or third down situations, they do have slight advantages there when it comes to that. But the area of the field the Steelers are bad in terms of running defense is first down situations. Kind of significantly below average when it comes to giving up the run in terms of first down. So that's definitely something to kind of keep track of as the season goes on. Then, of course, you look at the Steelers rushing offense versus the Bengals rushing defense. And honestly, the Steelers have gotten better in this regard. They were kind of and they've slowly gotten better over the season when it comes to this. And the Steelers have favorability when it comes to second down and third down situations. So that is a good sign, to say the least, that the offense should hopefully continue to improve as the season goes on, hopefully. Then, of course, when you look at passing down, so this is the Bengals passing offense versus the Steelers passing defense, and it clearly favors the Steelers on second and third down, especially. And first down's a little bit more even, but second and third down heavily favors the Steelers, especially third down. And then, of course, you look at the passing of the Steelers versus Bengals, and this is actually kind of where the issues kind of show up. The Steelers have issues when it comes to first down, second down, and third down situations compared to how the Bengals do when it comes to passing defense. So this is going to be a clear situation to kind of monitor because of this disparity here. Then when you look at sack rate, so this is the Bengals offense versus Steelers defense when it comes to sacks, and actually pretty heavily favors the Steelers. The Steelers have gotten a lot of sacks this year, and the Bengals mostly give up sacks on third down and second down, so this is definitely in the Steelers' favor here. Then, of course, you look at the Steelers' offense versus Bengals' defense when it comes to sacks, and this favors the Bengals as well in terms of first down situations and third down situations. In fact, the Bengals are one of the best defenses on third down when it comes to creating sacks, and I think that will continue in this game as well. Then, of course, you look at interception ratio of the Bengals versus the Steelers, and this favors the Steelers' defense in terms of first down situations and third down situations, and most of the interceptions that the Bengals throw are in third down situations, which I think definitely favors the Steelers as well. And then lastly, when you look at the Steelers' offense versus Bengals' defense when it comes to interceptions, and this heavily favors the Bengals' defense, especially in third down situations. So overall, how do I feel about this matchup? Well, I think it's a Steelers victory. I know it's a rivalry game. These are always going to be rough. And I will say this much. These are both very good defenses with struggling offenses. They like mirror each other. Like the whole AFC West this year has been that. Most of the teams have really strong defenses and offenses. And it's just that the Steelers happen to have the best combination of their offense has gotten a little bit better as the season has gone on. Same thing goes with the Bengals, but yeah, that's the thing is they mirror each other in a lot of ways, but I think the Steelers just do what the Bengals do better, if that makes any sense. So from that stretch of the imagination, I would say the Steelers are here, but who knows? I mean, it is a rivalry game. Anything can happen. I always say that because it's kind of true. Any given Sunday. But I just have to go Steelers here based on the overall data and how everything else is stacking up. And of course, you can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.